Warning, I'm just having fun with old cars. I hope you get some tips and a good laugh from watching, but don't do what I do on your projects. What is up, everybody? It's that time again. Uh, my beautiful workspace. It's raining. Um, in fact, I'm getting a little bit of a late start because I tried to come out here this morning and it was raining into my carport. But it's fine. We got work to do. We'll get it done. So, the last video, I started working on the rear end for the S10, and I didn't get as far as I wanted, but we're gonna see if we can't get this thing shortened today. I don't know. We'll see. We'll do the best we can. Obviously, not good conditions to be welding in, but if I can make it work, it'll work. Or it won't. Who knows? Uh, but like I said, I did come out here this morning for a little while and started laying out a bunch of measurements because honestly, I needed my phone to do the math because I'm not that smart. Um, but I'm going to kind of set you guys up and show you what I've come up with so far. There's a lot of videos, like I said before, of people doing this. So there are other places you can look for these measurements. But as far as specifically for an S10, I have some numbers written down that might help you for if you're putting one of these in a square body S10. So I'm gonna quit talking. And I'm gonna set you up so I can talk some more, just in a different setting, and show you what I come up with. Hang on. Okay. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear me because I just realized there's probably a bunch of wind noise because it's very windy. But I want to quickly go over some of the measurements I came up with on this deal. Some of mine came out a little different than other videos I've seen, which I'm sure there's variation in these things. It's not a big deal. But the first thing I figured out was the width of the center section, which I think I'll probably list these measurements on the screen over here, if I can figure out how to do that. But I did this. I just used a magnet. Obviously, you can't measure straight across here because this is in the way, no matter which way you try and go. So I just used a square and put it up on here against this factory edge here. I used the magnet on the other side. I actually did it across the back cover, but you can't see that because that's kind of the lowest point. And I measured across, and I came up with 16 and 7/16. Now I'm gonna be pointing here because this is where I wrote them down. Like I said, I'll put them on the screen so you can see those while I look at these, because then we can all see something. So now I couldn't find that on any of the other information I was trying to find before I started doing this. And the reason I wanted that measurement is because I was able to find the center to center measurement for where the spring perches need to go. And I want my cut to wind up in the center of where that spring perch goes. And I want that because it'll just add a little strength having the spring perch here, kind of bridging the gap where I gotta weld this thing. It's probably not necessary, but it just, a little extra strength, I think, isn't going to hurt. It's fine. The wind, you know. Some days working outside sucks. Just the way it goes. But, yeah, so 16 and 7/16 is what I came up with for the overall width of the center section. Now, what I found is the S10 leaf springs, center to center, are 38 1/4. So that will be like to the center of locating pin, the center of locating pin. There's going to be 38 1/4. So you guys aren't going to be able to see any of this. But I use that. I took 38 1/4 and I subtracted the 16 and 7/16, which gave me, I don't remember what, I didn't write down what that measurement was, okay? But if you subtract that, the center section from the overall width, and then divide that in 2, it gave me how far off of the center section I needed to come for the center of my leaf springs. Hopefully. This is all in theory. I've never done this before, but this is just how I'm doing it. So the number I came up with, like I said, I got a 91 model S10 truck, factory width leaf springs and everything. The number I came up with off of here to the center of the spring perch is 10 and 29/32. So obviously you can't see it, I'm pretty sure, but I made a mark here and a mark on this one, and that'll give me where I want to shorten this tube, because this tube's going to stay the same, but now I still have a reference of where that perch is going to go, because I'm probably going to tack it on. I'm probably going to tack it on once I get this shortened and welded, so that I can test fit it in the truck. I'm not going to weld it. The spring perches won't get welded until I've got the truck all together and I can set pinion angle and everything. But for mock-up and being able to roll the truck around, I'll probably tack them on roughly where I think they're going to end up. So the next thing you got to figure out, I've watched a bunch of the videos that are out there. I've heard 2 7/8 is how much you got to shorten this axle, or this axle tube. For my particular for this rear end that I have sitting in front of me, I came up with so I'll show you guys close up at some point. I don't know where I put my tape measure. It's in my pocket. The way that I'm taking the measurement is from the machined flat of this flange, so the outside edge of that, to the edge of the cast center section is where I'm pulling my measurement from. Now there's a step here, so make sure you're not measuring off that step, because I will change your measurement about a 1/16 if you're not paying attention. So I just pulled from there right to the edge of the casting. This is the most crucial part of this. So I've measured this about 10 times now, and it's come out to 20 1/4. every time. So yeah. Well, I say that, but the bottom measured different. Nope. Yeah. So 20 and a quarter is what I've come up with. I mean, ultimately, as long as you get this thing square, 20 and a quarter. So just try and make sure your tape measure is in a straight line. Make sure you're pulling from the same surface every time. And don't be afraid to measure it 1,000 times, because once you cut it, you're committed. So now on this end, obviously 20 and a quarter. This end, I did the same measurement, and it came out to 17 and 5/16. Which is not quite what I was expecting. But you can't really go into these things with a preconceived idea of what you're going to find. So that puts me, double check me here, okay? But I'm pretty sure that puts me at 2 and 15/16 difference between the long side and the short side, which everything that I've read and watched has been 2 7/8 or 3 inches, depending on the person. So a 16th by factory tolerances is virtually nothing, but it is a little weird that it's different. So just make sure you check all these measurements on yours, because obviously they're not all going to be the same. So in saying all of that, I already made my line for where I want to have the seam here, which is my my center line measurement of the spring perch. So now what I need to do, you don't really need anything too fancy. I say that, but I'm gonna grab something else. So the way that I'm using a Silver Streak pencil, they come from the welding industry and they're very expensive, but like I was even able to write over the water that was on this thing this morning with this. They don't do the best on like really clean, perfect metal, I've learned, but on anything, they'll write on oil, water, paint, rust, any of that stuff. And also, unfortunately, they don't hold a point very well, but they've got this little, they got a little cap on the back that you just sharpen it constantly. And yeah, they cost a lot, but they do work good, especially for stuff like this. And it gives you like a pencil like point, so you can stay pretty accurate. So I don't want to bore you with a bunch of me That's why I didn't film any of this, because taking all those measurements just took time and it's kind of boring. But I like to use a ruler. Obviously, for like this measurement, it's pretty easy to mark with a tape. But when you get to the section you're going to cut out of here, I like to use a ruler. And I feel a little bit more confident in the accuracy of my measurement. So we're just going to mark that at 2 5/16. I'm going to mark it a couple places around here. I just said 2 5/16, I think. I meant 2 15/16, but surely somebody caught that, hopefully. Or maybe I didn't say it wrong. I don't know. My brain doesn't work too good, okay? So I made a couple marks around there, and what I did, this actually came on a Hot Rod magazine. They're trying to get me to subscribe to something else, even though I subscribe to their magazine. Get some of this water off. But this has a nice, it's really a pain to do this stuff when everything's wet. But anyway, this has a nice straight edge on it. So just take it and wrap it I wouldn't recommend using just like regular paper, because it probably doesn't have enough structure. But if you wrap this around, they also make it's called a pipe wrap. It's kind of like a spring-loaded ruler deal, but I don't have one. So if you just you gotta take your time a little bit and wrap this, and as long as your two ends, like the edge lays right in line, and you know that you're using a straight edge of the paper, you can line those up, and then you have a straight line all the way around the housing. So now we're just going to use this, mark us a little line around here. If you had a table you could do this on, it'd be a lot easier. Obviously I don't, so I get to crawl around on the ground. And there we go. Now, I don't think you can see it. I'm just trying to look at the screen, see if you can see it. But now we have our marks here. And double check them again. That is 2 15/16. Well, And somehow I screwed that up. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to. I'm not gonna show you guys, but I'm gonna double check all of these measurements, and just make sure I've got everything good. And yeah, probably put you guys on a time lapse or something, and we'll cut this deal off. I did try and get as much of the fluid out of this as I could, but do pay attention for fires. It is a potential, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm going to do that. And the only other hint that I have, if you want to call it a hint, is cut. Make your outside cut first, so that the end comes off, and then make your inside cut. That way you don't have to try and hold this outside piece and make this cut. It'll be all sitting here holding itself. So yeah, I'm gonna set up and do that, and I will check back in with you when I get that done. Hang on. Okay, well, as you guys saw, I got that all cut off. Uh, I need coffee. I'm mildly a caffeine addict. So anyway, you saw in the time lapse I got that cut off. I went ahead and beveled the edges. I did leave, you're probably not going to be able to see, but I did leave a small land on there, a flat spot that was at where I cut it, on both of them, so we have somewhere for them to butt up to. Calm down. So also, if you saw the difference from when I stopped the video to the time lapse, I put tape on it. I ended up redoing my lines completely because it's kind of stupid. They were probably a 30-second off when I started checking it, and I'm a little bit OCD about things. So I got them as perfect as I could possibly get them with my abilities. Yeah, so now we're at the point where we gotta start putting this thing back together. I don't have, the right way to do this would be to pull the carrier and everything out and the ring gear and put a fixture bar through here, and it's got some aluminum pucks that are the right OD to fit inside here, and they got pucks that go in the saddles where the carrier sits and makes it all perfectly straight. The problem is that is very expensive, and I don't know, I've never done this before. I can't imagine I'm going to start doing a whole bunch of these, so it's kind of hard to justify spending I forget what it is, $500 to $700 on a fixture. So what I've seen on other forums and YouTube videos and stuff is you take this is scrap, but it's 3-inch C channel, and we're going to clamp it. You need 2 pieces. These are like 12 inches long. We're going to clamp them like so, which I have to try and do one-handed, so that will be fun. My clamp is not adjusted. Sometimes it would be nice to have an extra set of hands or 2, but yeah. So just clamp this like so. And then this piece, a couple things for you to note at this point, okay? A lot of people make marks across here and on the housing so you can clock this back the right way. I didn't really think that was necessary personally. What I'm gonna do, the first thing, this plate is notched on one side. I don't really know why, but well, I guess I used the same end, left and right. But on that end, this notch is facing backwards. On the driver's side, that notch is facing forward. So I kind of took note of that. In fact, I even took a picture of it before I cut it apart, to reference putting it back together. And then what I plan on doing is I have one of these kind of cheap electronic angle finders, and I'm going to I'm going to kind of roughly put this in there for now and check my measurements and see where I'm at. And then before I tack it, I'm going to put this on here and check that side and just make them match. And if they're off a little bit, it's not a big deal. All that's going to do is clock your brakes a little bit different, but you want them to be as close as possible. And the way my brain is, I'm not going to give up until it's perfect. So it's just me. They don't have to be perfect, but yeah. So now we take this and it should slide just like that. What I may also do too, I was able to source another axle from the junkyard, which got it for 45 bucks. Not bad. New ones are over 100, which I did not expect. But once I feel pretty confident in my measurements, I'll probably slide that thing in at least while I'm tacking it and make sure that everything spins and is happy. This is going to be a pretty time consuming process because it's got to be right, and we're not doing it the right way. So I got to take a little bit longer and get it right. So yeah. Use my cheap Harbor Freight clamps as I talk about getting it right, and I use, okay. Let's see now. What did I do with my tape measure? So I can already tell, there's a gap here, and there's not a gap here, which tells me I got a little bit of cleaning to do, most likely, to get this right. That is saying 17 3/8, which, if you remember, we're looking for 17 5/16 to match the other side. So we're a little bit over, which I'm good with. I'd rather be over than under because I can fix this. And we are right on 17 3/8 there also, which it's good news because it means it's square, which means our little fixture deal is working. But it means we gotta take a little bit out of it. Actually a little over 17 3/8 there, which might be the way I'm holding the tape measure. So I'll probably speed this up for you guys, but I'm going to be taking this in and out a bunch of times until I can get exactly the measurement, our 17 5/16 here. And yeah, I'll probably get back with you then. Okay, well, I probably sped that up for you guys. Not probably, I did, because I just spent forever on this. But it is as perfect as I can get it. This is kind of what I was talking about using this. You probably saw in the video. I got this one. I didn't get it perfect, but it's 0.3 degrees from being perfectly level on that side. And this, the nice thing about these is you can zero them at whatever you want. And then this side is 0.1 degree different than that side. Nobody's gonna notice 0.1 degree, okay? So this is, I've measured this so many times my eyes are starting to cross, which is not funny because my eyes used to be crossed. Fun story. But I've checked it, and it is it's as perfect as I can possibly get it. So I'm gonna take a break for a second and get my welder set up and everything, and we're gonna start tacking this, which is gonna be a process in and of itself, because we're gonna have to kind of tack it, move everything, reset, check everything again, and re-tack it. Which you guys might be tired of the time lapses. I don't know, maybe not. Probably not, because it's less time. You have to watch me do really boring stuff. But I'm probably gonna time lapse tacking it up also, because it just takes a long time, and there's not really anything entertaining about it for you guys to watch. I enjoy the process, so I think it's fun, but I completely understand that you guys won't. So I went through, I cleaned the inside of this tube. Literally, by the time I got done, there was like no dirt coming off. I used mineral spirits first, and then some non-chlorinated brake clean, which is important that it's non-chlorinated, because chlorinated brake clean, when it's heated up, will release a gas that kills you. So don't do that. Yeah, I'm gonna get ready to start tacking this thing, and once I get it tacked, I'll check in with you again, I guess, because we're having so much fun, and yeah, I don't know, we'll go from there. FedEx is here, so now I have to go. See you. Okay, so I got it all tacked, and then I went ahead and ran some short beads around, which I'll show you in a second. Um, I'm letting it cool off. Uh, if you could tell in the time lapse, I don't know if you can or not. After everything, like after each thing that I've checked, or each thing that when I've tacked it and put weld on it, I've been going back and checking the measurement. Um, I tried to, go like, picture this is the, just for, use your imagination, okay? This is the tube. I tried to go like tack opposite sides and then rotate it and tack opposite sides. And then once I got it tacked and everything was still right, I welded opposite sides and then rolled it and welded opposite sides again. All of that is in an attempt to try and keep it straight. I also put the new axle in it, new. Um, and I've kind of been rotating it to make sure nothing's too crazy. That doesn't really tell you a lot because there's a lot of play in those things, so they'll still spin even if it's pretty far off. But the straighter I can keep this thing, the better chance I have of not blowing the seals and bearings out of it all the time, which would be nice. I'll show you real quick where I'm at. Also, you could MIG weld this also, but I have the option to TIG weld it, and I like TIG welding because I can actually see that I'm melting, that I'm getting good penetration. MIG welding, you can. It's a little more of a guess. I don't know. I could have done it either way, but I wanted to TIG weld it. Okay, I don't get to TIG weld as much anymore, so I wanted to do it. But I'll show you real quick where I'm at, and then I gotta let this thing cool off, and I'll probably go ahead and get it welded without showing you guys because it's gonna be the same process you already seen. And then after that, we're actually gonna weld the tubes to the center section because I've heard that they have a tendency to come loose and spin inside the housing. So, but that'll be in a little while. So, hold on. Let me show you where I'm at, and then don't mind my hand, and then I'll catch you up after I get this all welded. So, excuse the mess that is all of my crap everywhere, but this is where I'm at right now. I probably should do a second, like a cap over that weld, but because it's undercut a little ways. But honestly, I'm not too worried about it. They're not beautiful welds, but they're gonna hold. They're gonna do their job. This, it's got a little bit of a gritty noise, but that's probably the grinding dust in the bearings, and I'm gonna end up replacing those anyway. But you can kind of see how I did sections. So once this cools off, which is still a little warm, I'll weld in between those sections, and that should keep it pretty square. Then, like I was saying, I'm gonna clean all this up really good. I'll probably do that now while that's cooling off, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do for welding that, because it's something I learned in another YouTube video. So, I'm gonna do all that stuff. I'm not gonna show you because you get the point. But yeah, I'm gonna do that stuff, and then before I weld the housing, I'll show you what I'm gonna do on that. So I'll see you in just a second. For you, it'll be a while longer for me. See you. Okay, I'm back. I went ahead and got the axle tube welded all the way around. Um, you know, it's not gonna fall off. Not right away, at least. So I mentioned I was gonna be welding the axle tube to the housing. I went ahead and did a couple test spots on it because I wanted to try something I saw on a channel called the Fabricator series, maybe fabrication series. Anyway, I happen to have some 309 stainless rod, and that's what he said was he had found in his experience was the best to use on the welding the cast steel center section to the steel tubes and not having it crack. So I figured since I already have it, I'll the distractions are killing me today. I don't know whose cat that is. I don't know, but it is meowing at me now, like I'm supposed to give it a home. Uh, Hopefully it's gone by the time my wife sees this video. Otherwise, we will be giving it a home. But anyway, so I want to do a couple test spots with the stainless rod before I showed you guys, because I didn't. The reason he used stainless is, well, the reason I think he used stainless is it's got a lot of nickel in it, and that helps it keep from cracking. Listen, that's what I think. I could be wrong. If you know metallurgy better than I do, explain to me why that works. But so I'm gonna show you. Listen, the welds aren't great, okay? But like I said, it's not gonna fall off, at least not right away. And there's a reason why I wanted the spring purchase as a secondary little brace, because you guys see the way I do stuff. But I'm gonna show you those little test spots I did, and then I'll set you guys up. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of video of me welding. I don't know. The video will probably come out cooler than my welds, but whatever. Yeah. I'm gonna flip this thing around and show you this, and then get you set up. Hang on. Ta-da! If I show you my welds from this far away, you don't know how bad they look. So, I'm just kidding. I'll show you how bad they are. So this is, I wire wheeled them just to clean them up. Whatever, it's not gonna fall apart. I could do a second pass over that and get rid of the undercut. But I don't want to put too much heat in this thing. It's already kind of risky what I'm doing anyway. So I don't want to push my luck any more than I already have. So, yeah, they don't look great, but that's okay. So this one looks cool just because of the colors, but so that's kind of, I'm gonna weld this in the same fashion as this. You can't see it, but I welded directly under this, the direct opposite portion, and I kind of marked out where my sections are gonna be. So just make sure. Hold on. The most important thing with that is trying to get that clean, it's a nightmare. And mine's not perfectly clean, to be honest, but it'll be alright, probably. But yeah, I'm just going to, like I said, I'll probably set you guys up, and I'm gonna go through the process of welding this. Try take my time and not get it too hot. I don't think that weld there will distort it too much. Um, Something I probably should mention is the less of a gap you have in your axle tube pieces when you fit them up, the less chance there is for that thing to draw out a square. Um, yeah, just I know I kind of half-assed a lot of stuff, but I did spend a lot of time making that thing fit as good as I could, and when I welded it, there was virtually no gap anywhere all the way around. And from the measurements I've taken now, disclaimer, this could blow seals out of it right away, and I have this all screwed up and don't know it. But from the measurements and everything, it seems like it stayed really good. So I'm happy about that. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go through the process of welding this deal. Um, I've never done anything like this before, but obviously, if I can do it, uh, you guys can do it. And if you only have a MIG welder, MIG weld it. But just know that uh, it takes a lot of heat to burn through this material, and really, you got to have a good machine to do it. Um, I may not, I don't know. I downplay myself a lot because I don't feel like I'm that good at anything. Um, but be realistic with your expectations and your capabilities. If you don't do a lot of welding, find somebody that does. Um, if you're willing to risk it and learn on this, you can. It's your deal. But um, I've welded quite a bit of stuff, so I know I'm not the best. I know that my welds aren't the prettiest. I know all that stuff, but I feel I feel reasonably confident in my ability that this thing isn't gonna break in two and kill me going down the road. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this. Sheet metal and stuff, whatever. If it fails, it's not gonna kill you most of the time. But this can have lasting effects. So just a quick disclaimer: I joke around a lot. I talk about what idiot I am, cause I am, you know. But just make sure you do this stuff right. When it comes to this, even find a friend. There's a lot of people who can weld that will work for beer. So just find you one of them. They're good friends to have. I promise. And okay, I'm gonna stop rambling and set you up, and we're gonna get some welding done. And hopefully, after that, we can get the spring perches tacked on it. Is my hope for today. It's probably as far as I'm gonna get because the weather is not cooperating. Also, when you're TIG welding, you should really be inside. It does not do well in windy, crappy conditions. But that's not what I got. So we're just gonna make it happen. And I'm still rambling. So I'm gonna stop. Hang on. Well, you know, it looks alright. Uh, that's how it's going right now. The wind has decided to pick up, and that makes it very hard to weld. Actually, it makes it impossible. At least for this. So, yeah, there's a little bit of welding. I'm going to wait out this current wind. If you can even hear me over the welder, probably not. And I will get this welded at some point and show you what it looks like. Oh, crap. Okay. Hang on. So, hopefully you guys can see me. I can't see. Whatever. Anyway. I don't know. Look. I did 4 stitch welds around this on each axle tube. It's got to be better than nothing, right? And we're calling that good enough. The thing is, I could go ahead and weld it solid. If I put the welding clips in here, you'll see that this thing's spitting and it's just, there's just so much garbage down inside there, and the hotter it gets, the more of it comes out. So I feel like if I just weld it solid, it's just gonna get worse. Also, it's windy outside. It does not help my case, but it's fine. It will all work, I'm pretty sure. Honestly, it probably would have held way more horsepower than I'm gonna make from the factory. So having that little bit of extra weld on there is just gonna be a little bit of extra insurance. So, in saying all of that, this is the next step. These, they're kind of a, if I think about it, I'll put on the screen or in the description or something the ones I bought. They're just like a universal spring perch thing. Um, it's got to be for, these are 3 1/4 or 3 1/8, something like that. Um, these particular ones had like little knobs in here that I had to grind off, which is a stupid design. Um, if you build these, just make 2 different ones, because let's say I needed the 3 inch tube with the little knobs, then you've got whatever an 1/8 inch gap everywhere that those knobs aren't touching, which to me makes no sense. Um, I want it to fit the tube the way it's supposed to. Anyway, I'm done venting about that. Um, so basically, I don't know if I said this on already or not. I already put the other side on. I wanted to kind of do that without trying to show you guys something that I'm trying to figure out. But basically, what I've done, you might be able to tell the rear end is upside down, obviously, because I want the spring perches on the bottom. And what I've got it set up. I don't think you guys can see it. I don't know. The bad part is I can't see the screen while I'm sitting here, so I don't know if you guys can see it or not. But I've got the yoke, or where the, what am I trying to say? I got the pinion kind of propped up, and I set it to where it's up. Let's check. Right at 2 degrees up. And I know somebody might say, normally your transmission's running downhill, and you want this at an equal and opposite. You want it to an equal. You want them to be in line, for less driveline vibration, and it's easier on your output shaft and all that stuff. I know that, but the way I have this set, obviously this is probably going to have to change once I get a motor and everything put in the truck, and I can check what the angle is of the transmission and all that stuff. But for right now, I'm setting it to where the pinion is actually going to be down. And the reason I'm doing that, I'm kind of taking I don't want to call it an educated guess, but I'm taking a guess, and putting it down about 2 degrees, because this truck's got leaf springs. So under torque, it's going to drive the pinion of the rear end up, because the pinion's trying to climb the ring gear when you apply a lot of torque. So by putting it down, the idea is when it torques the pinion up, you'll hopefully torque it right to what you would generally think it should be set at. Pinion angle has a lot of effect on a lot of things, and obviously this is a guess, but I believe most time transmission's going down 2 to 3 degrees, with the pinion going down 2 degrees. That gives me 4 to 5 degrees of upswing, and this is all just in my brain. I feel like that's probably pretty close to what it would be with leaf springs, under a decent amount of torque. So like I mentioned, I plan on drag racing this truck, and that's kind of where this way of thinking comes from. I could be completely wrong, I've never really set this up the way I thought it should be before. Um, but I don't know. We're just gonna find out. And if I'm wrong, we're gonna find out. That's okay, because I learned something. That's why I'm just tacking these in for right now. And I will, once we get the truck more together, I'll check all this stuff and kind of see where we end up. So, if you know a lot about this stuff, drag racing with leaf springs, let me know if my way of thinking is completely backwards or if it halfway makes sense. Yeah, so if you remember, right? If you remember my measurement from the housing to the center line of the leaf spring perch, which would be like the center of these holes, I don't know if you can see, like the center line of these holes, was 10 and 29/30, which is pretty inconvenient measurement, if I'm being honest. I wish it was a round number. I probably could have made it a round number, like a more round fraction. That doesn't make sense. I wish it was a 16th instead of a 32nd, is what I'm saying. But, yeah, there's nothing I can do about that now. So, it's going to work out that the way I did it over there is I just set this like so. You guys probably can't see. And measured. Obviously, this is in the middle of the weld, so it gets a little bit weird. But that's my 10 and 29/30. Also, I've switched to soapstone because, like I mentioned earlier in the video, that that other thing I was using, the marquee thing, doesn't work too good when you have the metal cleaned up. So a little bit of soapstone works pretty good. Also, it's just something I have and I'm comfortable using. So now that we've marked that, I'm going to go back 1.25 inches right there. And the reason I'm doing that is because this is 2.5 inches wide. So by finding the center line here and then going back 1.25 inches, it'll give me a mark for the edge of this and still put center line on the center line. And luckily my math worked out, and this is going to go right over the top of that where I welded that, so that'll help out with structural integrity there. So do the same thing here, go 1.25 inches. Perfect. Very nice, very nice. Now what I did on the other side is I kind of use this as a straight edge that fits around the tube. And just go ahead and make a complete line. Now we know exactly where this needs to go this way. We can just toss it on our mark. The next thing is we've got obviously my carport's not level, so now yes, I have the digital angle finder right here. Yes, I'm using a manual one here, I don't want to take that off because I want to be able to look back and verify that that hasn't moved. So this is about 3 degrees uphill this way. So I want to make sure that this is sitting level with the housing. It's right on 3 degrees. I know you guys can't see it, but just take my word for it, okay? It's fine. Um, then the next thing is this way. Now, since I have this going up 2 degrees, which is actually down 2 degrees, that'll get you confused. I'm gonna set these at 0, which is what I did on the other side. Which that should keep my 2 degree down, up, hill, uppy, downy. You know, yeah, that other stuff I was saying. So, right there is 0. Now's where it gets a little bit tricky. You don't probably have to clamp this, especially if you're MIG welding it. You just put a quick tack on it in a couple places. It'd probably be fine. But I'm TIG welding and I don't want to bump this thing and move it. So I also, the other thing you gotta watch is when you tack it, it'll want to draw, and you don't want that for obvious reasons. You want it to stay flat as best as possible. So now I've got a clamp on it. I've got something stuck to the bottom of this. We'll put this back on here, and we are right at our 3 degrees that we had before. Put it back on this way. Hopefully be right on 0. Right on 0. And I'm gonna tack this deal real quick. Hopefully the wind doesn't pick up and screw me up again like it has been all day. Naturally, I didn't move my pedal over here. I should have just hooked up the finger trigger, but I didn't. So they always everybody on the internet always says, like, make sure you're super comfortable before you start welding. And the longer I've welded, the more I've learned that very rarely are you ever comfortable. So get comfortable being uncomfortable. That will help you out in the long run. Hey, you know what else will help you out in the long run? You turn your welder back on, because you're an idiot and you turned it off because the fan is so loud. You're just going to screw up the camera. So, just wait 1 second. And it's on, but you can probably hear why I shut it off. I wish, if you don't know, I have an Everlast machine, Everlast multi-process deal, and it's awesome. But guys, welder companies, the bigger ones do it, you know, the big name ones, but all the budget ones, the fan runs constantly, and it's incredibly annoying. And now the wind is picked up, so That's great. I'm gonna sit here for a second and hope the wind dies down, and then I'll be right back. Again, I'm tacking kind of across from each other. Give me the best chance of it not drawing or doing anything weird. Unfortunately, heat has a lot of adverse effects, we'll call it, on metal that you're trying to weld, so just keep that in mind. And we stuck it. Make sure you stick the tungsten in it at least one time. It's fine. If these weren't temporary tacks, I would probably go back and grind that out and resharpen my tungsten, but I'm on a time crunch, okay? Give me a break. Voila. Just like that. This thing should be ready to throw some paint on. Obviously, I got to put all the stuff back on it. Yeah, if you knew that these were exactly where you want them, you could go ahead and weld them now. I don't, so I'm not going to. But I'm going to shut this off. So this is probably gonna be the last video on this for a couple weeks. I'm not gonna waste your guys' time with putting the brakes and everything back on. All that stuff's gonna be temporary to mock it up in the truck anyway. So and if I'm being honest, I started doing this now because I was hoping to get it done last week so I could measure the offset, to order wheels, and it didn't get done. These didn't show up in time. I ran out of time with the holiday and everything, so it goes that way. But we've got it shortened now. We've got it reinforced here. We've got this where I think they're gonna be hopefully. And yeah, that's about it. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, but it's not too bad of a job, if I'm being honest. The cutting it and cleaning it all up was probably the crappiest part. But if I wasn't filming and the weather was cooperating and stuff, I'm pretty sure you could get it to this point in a day, like one full day of work. Maybe faster if you've done it before, or you're just better than me. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy. Still spins. I'm gonna have to disassemble this whole thing and clean it really good, and obviously put all the brakes and everything back on it. Um, yeah, pretty much a piece of cake. I wish I had more time. Unfortunately, I'm already behind on other stuff I'm supposed to do today, and I've got a mess to clean up. Um, but yeah, that's about it for prepping this 8.8 to go in that S10. I'm pretty happy. I am. Let me do the math. I paid $250 for the rear end. Uh, these were 25, I think, for the pair. So what is that? 275 and $45 for an axle. So somebody help me. 320. Is that, yeah, 320. I'm gonna put a mini spool in it, which will be probably, let's call it $80. So it'll be $400. Yeah, it'll be about $400 into this deal ish. We'll call it $450 for, miscellaneous. And it got me a 373 gear ratio, and it'll be locked together, and it won't explode as easily as the 7.5. So I'm pretty happy. And saying all that, I think that's going to be the end of this video. We're going to get, now that this is to this point, honestly, so easy. I don't know if I talked about this already. I went ahead and ordered wheels anyway. I talked to my dad in length about the backspace I should order. My father is probably the most knowledgeable person I know when it comes to wheels and tires. He's done it his entire life, and I grew up doing it for a long time, so I trust him. The bad thing is, my wife, I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing. My amazing wife bought them for me for Christmas, but the rule was I can't have them until Christmas. So, yeah, so probably after Christmas, probably the first week after Christmas, or second week, depending on how the videos come out, you will see, that'll probably be the next time you see this. And then we'll be slinging it under the truck. We'll find out if all this work actually fits, and we'll have wheels and tires put on it. And then that thing will be a roller, which it was a roller when I bought it, and then I made it not a roller. But it'll be a roller again, and it'll have a beefcake rear end. Beefcake. And, yeah. I'm going to stop talking too much, because I've already done it. And, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. This will come out in a week from today, but today I hit 250 subscribers, which is incredible. I wasn't sure that 10 people would be interested in what I was doing or watching my ugly face on a video, but the fact that there's 250 of you guys. It's just cool, man. It's really it's really given me the drive to accomplish stuff that I've wanted to do my whole life. So, thank you to everybody who's done that. Everybody who's watched the videos. Um, and I'm going to get back to work. Thank you guys. See you. Oh God, I can't get up. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget, like and subscribe. See you on the next one.